Just pray, just good. Amen. And I'm in my. Oh yeah, water. Uh, today's. I've been having network issue for the past 1 week in my house. I don't know whether it's a general network issue. So, and my battery is quite down. I think I have about 38%. So, my want to be, it's going to be a pretty short, live broadcast. It's going to be a pretty short live broadcast. I needed to do it because a lot of persons said I've traveled. No, I didn't travel. I've been either busy or there was a time I was not feeling too well. I wasn't feeling too well. Then last week it was network problem. I was online, but the network was supposed to talk about the principle of ikadeline, the principle of ikadeline and all of that. But along the line, I don't know what happened. The network was bad. I couldn't. So, but today, maybe we'll have to reschedule that topic of ikadeline, nobaya de doi. Today we'll have to talk about the principle of benin tithe, benin kingdom tithe. Ne dotie emuohan. You know, the principle and its blessings. We're going to be talking about the principles of what we call the Benin Kingdom tithe. Again, there Maria pay tithes. When the churches you pay tithes. We no longer do that, and there is a blessings that are attached to it, and that we are no longer getting. So I want to talk about it. This topic was inspired by a conversation that I had with some community leaders a few days ago. So I had to educate them on some certain things. Then I had to educate them on some certain things. Then and I got a revelation from that discussion that the Benin should look into these critical aspects of our history. In Edutie emuohan, again the Irima Igwe prominent figures, communities, ukpowe by na ya emuohan. It's more of like imi no heke ni viedwa unegwa. You know, a lot of religion has taken aspect of this very vital part of our history, of our tradition, not even history, of our traditions, of our cultural heritage. And I wish to use this my platform to speak on this matter so that the Benin people will understand the concept of emuohan and the consequences of it. All right, and so let's look at these. It's going to be a very short topic. It's going to be a very short topic, and because, like I said, there are factors that is going to make this topic very short. Factor number one: I have a quite low battery, so I can't charge and doing live. You know, all this techno phone. Once you are doing a live program, you are charging, it heats up, so it burns up, and the phone start misbehaving. And secondly, um, the network has been terribly bad in this my area for the past 1 week. All right. So I'll just do about 20-25 minutes lecture. Then if there are questions that you want to ask, you can ask the questions. And so if you want to also contribute, you want to join this our program, you can also join this program. But most importantly, let's share our live video. Our live videos are supposed to be everywhere so that people can learn things from our platform. So ensure you share and ensure you invite other of your friends so that they can join, so that they can listen to the voice of wisdom and the voice of our ancestors. Now, Christianity has a system of paying offering and tithes as a sort of a right, sort of as what is required in their Christian faith. As Benin people of the old, we also have a sort of a tithe that we were paying, but only that it was not mandated, but it was not like there was a law that says we must do it. All right, but it was consciously, it was part of our being that it is what is required from us as an Edo people. Emuohan. The palace completely relies on the goodwill of its people and completely relies on the goodwill of the people. The wealthy in the kingdom and the prosperous villages and all of that. So they had a concept of carrying gifts to the palace as their customary right and role in understanding the relevance of the palace to the very foundation of the Benin people. The blessings, after these communities were presented with these gifts at the end of the year, that's where you do Igwe, where the Obana pray for the entire Benin kingdom for more bountifulness. All right, but the concept of the prayer on most of these villages or the people in Benin kingdom can no longer be that too effective because we have also failed in the role of annually, individually, personally going to give gifts to the palace. It was a concept that was not forced. It was a concept. It was a voluntarily concept that became part of our existence. It wasn't important. I've always explained a particular history of the Edo people. And I want us to draw the significance of paying tithes, not just tithes to the palace. When I mean tithes, I'm not saying, I'm using the concept of tithes so that people can understand. I want to draw one very important event during Obaewa, and I want to be able to tie my hypothesis that there are consequences of na heke ne do na emuohan. There are consequences. And it is something that I believe that every Edo man and Edo woman should revive, because it's an extant part of our cultural heritage. At the end of the year, it is important. I have not been doing it, me myself, but I will start it this year. At the end of the year, I should be able to say, dete meluakpa no, or dize 20 no, giavio giagwa. Why? Because I now begin to draw the history of the births of Ezoti, Olua, and Ozolwa. And I begin to draw the significance of what later became their faith that was tied to emuohan. Niwedo yo vegenahaya wuhunaya biya. On several occasions, I have talked about what led to the births of Ezoti, Oba Ezoti, Oba Olua, and Oba Ozolwa. There is one significant thing I've always said, but I did not know the spiritual implication of it until I got a revelation in these past few days. I remember the story goes thus far that at the later stage of Obaewa the first, having lost his two sons, he could not sire other children until there was a law that was enacted by Obaewa the first, that there should not be cooked food in the kingdom for 3 years. There should not, nobody in the kingdom, including himself, should not take his bath for 3 years. Thirdly, there should not be any sexual intercourse in the kingdom for 3 years. But there was a man who broke that law. All right, along the line, it was investigated that the man gave birth, and they discovered the child was few months old. How did you give birth when the law that was placed about Obaewa the first is it's over a year? Then, and you're having a child that is less than a year. That means at the time he has already given that law, and you broke the sacred law. So the man was invited to the kingdom. The capital punishment would have been death sentence. All right, it was invited to the palace, and the Oba inquired that I put a law. Myself, I've kept to the tenets of the law, but why would you break the law? And he told Obaewa the first that Domomogun, it's been a very long time he's been trying to sire a child, and eventually God and our ancestors have blessed him through a powerful seer from Uziah. And that Obaewa does not have a child of his own, that if he would soften his heart, he could show him that man from Uziah to also do the same medicine for him, that he might give birth to all the children even at his old age. Obaewa eventually pardoned him and requested that native daughter from Uziah come to Benin. So he explained everything to him. Now, the man had promised that Obaewa was going to give birth to 3 sons. So instead, he's going to give 3 separate medicine to Obaiwai to sign 3 separate songs. Now, the first day that medicine was prepared, some people from Benin Kingdom, emuohan, they came to the palace to present gifts from their farm produce. But when they were bringing the gifts from their farm produce, they brought the worst of the worst from their farm produce. And at the level of the presentation of the gift, the seer saw the gift that was being presented to Omo, that was being presented to the palace. He prophesied as a result of the gift that was given, that the child, that this medicine will be used in, that will be used, that will be side with. The child that this medicine will be born with will be very stingy, because it is out of the stinginess of the mind of an Edo man that they brought this gift to the palace. So the gift, Nedotie emuohan, he's tied one way to the other to the growth of Benin Kingdom and of the palace. That historical fact shows, buttress my explanation. Eventually, a child was born, and that child's name was later to be known in history as Ezoti. Ezoti was recorded as the most stingy Oba of Benin. Very stingy. Very stingy. And what they would call an excess parsimony. Very stingy. They release me. Then another day, this seer came. He produced another medicine. When he was producing the medicine, another set of Edo people came to present gifts to Omo, and they brought the best of the best from their farm produce. And the native doctor also saw the gift that the Benin people brought to the palace of the Oba of Benin. And he told Omo that the medicine that you will side this child with, the child that you will side with this medicine, will be excessively kind-hearted, because it is out of the kind-heartedness of an Edo man that this child was sided in the presence, in the spirituality of emuohan, that this child was sided. I don't know whether we are getting the spiritual connection between emuohan and Benin Kingdom generally from this historical fact. And eventually, a child was sold, and it was later to be known as Obaolua. And that Obaolua is regarded as the most kind-hearted of all the Obas of Benin. The most kind-hearted of every Obas of Benin. Then the third one, the third medicine that was prepared for Obaiwai, the day that medicine was prepared, and heavy rain fell. And heavy rain fell. And the native doctor also told him, Obaiwai, that the child that you're going to born with this medicine on the day that the rain fell will be a greater warrior than you are. And that child was named Prince Okpame, who was later to become Obaozolwa Niba Omiekon. What I'm trying to explain to you, I'm trying to make us, from historical point of view, connect the concept of emuohan, Nedowa Yayegwa, and the numerous blessings that abounds from it in the life of every Edo man. It was customary in the old that Ukpogagba Agiyimoa Giegwa, either as individual or as communal. It was voluntary, it wasn't forced. It is what is required. It is like a country that works. A country that works. What is required as a citizen of the country that works? I'm not talking about Africa, I'm not talking about Nigeria. That as a citizen of for example, of United Kingdom, it is requested that you pay tax. It is your obligation. As far as you earn, you must pay tax. It is your obligation. And there are a lot of things that abound from paying tax. And that is the development that you see around you in this civilized country because you pay tax. It is also customary how it was. It was also customary how it was in Benin. And it is a part of our history, of our being, of our existence that we need to revitalize. Na yimoa. A lot of you are in overseas and you begin to ask, the palace door or gate is open. If you can't do it yourself, you can send your family members. It's not money. I go yimoa. De yano. Do hohono. De wino. De milano. Oheke ni vie do de gbe ayimoa. There are so many blessings that abound. There are several blessings that abound for it, for those sons and daughters, for us to revitalize. And I haven't done it before, but this year, me amos uyi more. What prompted me was I met some young lads in one of the community. We're discussing some business-related matters. So they obviously they sold land to a very big estate developer and all of that. The palace called them, and the palace had warned them that the land that they sold to the estate developer was too big. And the palace, I think the palace now asked them, with all of the money that all of these communities are making, when was the last time that any of them ever deemed it fit that so those guys were not telling me that it seems like, why would there be, why? What's in Nahana Yimo and Gebwa? And I lectured them that it is out of the ignorance of their mind. It is like you being asked as a Christian that why do you pay tithe? You've been asked as a good citizen of a country that why do you pay tax? You've been asked why being paid tax as a good citizen in a country that it works. It's very important. It is part and parcel of our very existence, our very being as those sons and daughters. Nana Yimoa. It's very important. Why it is important is that I asked them a question. How do you think the palace takes care of their expenses? Do you think is the money that the government brings? The government sends quite a little amount of money to the palace. It is the citizenry that finances per se the palace. It is the burden. The palace is like the burden of the Edo people. It has always been like that. And it is something we are very proud of. I want to let me not get to, because of all of these people misinterpreting words, let me not use the word burden. It is the responsibility of an Edoma to ensure that the palace is well taken care of. That was the concept of emuohan. Your 1 naira, your 2 naira, your 1 tuber of yam means a lot. It sustains the palace. And when the palace is sustained, the kingdom itself is sustained. It is the home of our blessings. And there's always a principle of you give and you take. More, and there are bounds of blessings that come with it. So I want to implore that we start to look keenly into what I've just suggested. 100,000, 200,000, doesn't take anything from your pocket at the end of the year. That all right, there are a lot of blessings that are bound. A lot of people bragged about the wealth as a result of the tithes that they pay to church or to God. Thus also let us also start bragging of our successes as a result of emuohan at the end of the year. So we have to start revitalizing. It is only good that we start educating these communities, we start educating ourselves of the importance. I taught the concept of emuohan. No, the gift. Anything, any gift. If you want to go and give someone a gift, you call it norma. But in the cycle of the palace, the concept of giving anything to the palace, emuohan means I want to go and do I want to give to the palace out of the abundance of what I have. Emuohan. Anytime, any specific time, I more. You understand? So, in other words, when the palace started to begin to see that some of these things, we are revitalizing it gradually. We are revitalizing it. And people always believe, in modern times, people always believe that you take from the palace. In the old, it wasn't always like that. Benin people were not taken from the palace. I've seen people advocating for the palace, but they are being paid to advocate for the palace. You don't get blessings from the palace from taking from the palace. You get blessings from the palace by giving to the palace. It is out of the abundance of gifts, of the kind-heartedness of the Oba, that it blesses some people. But customarily, what is right is that all right, so there is no time to do that. There are no specific time, but most times communal emuohan is usually done during the end of the year. That is a community. But individually, as at the time, you understand? And when the palace begin to see that, ordinarily on a weekday, they'll be shocked. It will make them remember the customary right of what was necessary, what was I'm sure the palace will be happy about it. I'm sure they will be grateful about it. I'm sure it will invoke some aspects or practices of the palace that they no longer deem fit, because we also have failed to also practice some aspect of our culture that we felt is no longer necessary. And again, what do I know? It's just a thought. Like I always think, tata foi mo bow or my camel or my camel. Tata foi na wa miome. So for the young man who asked, were the three sons of Obai the Obas of Benin? Yes, they were all Obas. And I've talked about that several times. They were all about Baizot, Oba Olo, Oba Ozolwa. Three of them were Oba. So I've talked about that several times, so I don't want to dwell on that today. So, and I hope we all have been able to my generator. So I hope I've been able to educate all of us today to learn from this aspect of our culture. And I pray that God and our ancestors put in our mind to be able to see the revelation behind this topic. And I hope and pray that we are able to run with it. All right? If there are any question, if there are any contribution, like I said, my battery is pretty low. And I've spoken for about 30 minutes. And I think so. I've spoken for about 30 minutes. So if there are any contributions, we contribute. It's going to be a very short sermon. It's going to be a very short topic. All right. And so we can round up quickly and not dwell too much on what is brief and short. So if there are no questions, you ask your questions so that we can quickly rub our minds together. Otherwise, so as I get tired, many years, as I get full. So I'm sorry that today's topic is very short. I would have loved to talk more, but there are very many reasons why it cannot be that too long. Very many reasons. Low battery, bad network. Even my generator is misbehaving. Only have a door. My in Nigeria now. You understand? So, and I want to use this opportunity to appreciate all of you who are my followers, who are my fans, who have patronized me for getting properties from me. I'm really, really grateful. You guys are very, very amazing. I'm really, really grateful. It's been very inspiring for me. What's the video I have then? All right, and also keep telling friends that I'm sure that all the transactions that you've had with me, you've not had any issues at all as regards the smooth transaction of me handling your properties and handling your paperwork to you without any cause for alarm. We were expanding. So I've been very busy for the past 3 weeks because we just acquired 2 more estates and I've been traveling. So we now have at Upper Airport Road. So if you also will be interested, you should also let me know. And and for some of our 2 of our sisters through this platform that got property from me in Abuja, I'm also very grateful. I don't want to mention their names, but I appreciate you guys a lot. God and our ancestors continue to bless you guys for patronizing one of your very own brother, Izodwa. So I think there are no much anything to talk about. If there are any questions, maybe much later on, you can call through my personal line. We can trash it. Then my phone is almost so that it doesn't go off. So, but on Sunday, I'm sure that I'll be much, much prepared. But I just wanted to let you know, I just wanted you guys to be aware that I apologize for being absent for past 3 weeks. I had health issues. I traveled a couple of times, but I'm fine now, and I'm a bit stable for a week or two. So you know how business is. My business require I travel all the time out of those states and all of that. But I'll make our time to ensure that even if I don't come on Sundays, we can reschedule during the week, so that um, I don't create a gap where we don't get to learn one or two things at the end of the day. So, but however it is, I'm very happy to be able to be here once again on this platform, to be able to relate or interact with all of you. So I'm going to round up now. I always say so, but this topic I want us to put in the back of our mind how important it is. So I always say so. We'll see next week, this coming week on Sunday. So we'll have a longer time to talk about a very important aspect of our topic, then so that we can also rub minds. About talk by